gave me. It's been burning down deep in my soul, and I just pray I can deliver it with happy enthusiasm that I feel inside. Because you know, sometimes you have this picture in your mind of how it's going to go, and it goes nothing like how you think it's going to go. But I hope that I can deliver it tonight the way that I feel it in my soul. And I'm going to ask my new friend Becca if you would pray over the message tonight.
Lord, I just thank you that we were all able to be here and hear your message for us, God. And I just ask you to bless Tamara right now, Lord Jesus, that you just give her wisdom and give her the words to speak and just give her peace over this sermon, that she knows that it's from you, Lord Jesus. Yes. And I just ask for all of us to accept the message given and to let it resonate somewhere in our heart, and that we accept it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
My first scripture tonight is going to be out of 2 Corinthians 1 and 2. That says, "For all the promises of God in him are yea, and in him, amen."
That's right.
Unto the glory of God by us. So tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the wilderness. None of us like the wilderness experience, right?
No.
It's not easy. Don't mind it. This is just part of me, part's going along with me today. It's part of my little baggage here. I'm in the wilderness, so you know I gotta have my suitcase with me. But I looked up the word wilderness, and it means a desolate tract. And I felt like I was saying, dig a little bit deeper. So I looked up desolate. It means lonely.
Yeah.
Tract means a stretch or period of time. So the wilderness, if you put it all together, is a lonely period of time. And how many times has God said, you know what, I want you to do this. And you're like, yeah, God, you made me a promise, or God's telling you to do this. You're like, yes, God, let's get it. And then all of a sudden you're going, I feel kind of alone out here.
Yeah.
You know, how many times does that kind of happen to some of us?
Yeah.
You know, God says something, or you feel like he's going to do something, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're in this lonely period of time, all by yourself. Maybe he's told you to do something, maybe he hasn't yet. Maybe you're just feeling like you're not sure why you're going through it. But all of us, I think, have at one point in time been in a wilderness experience or are currently in one. So I want to take a look at David. We're going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 16, where we're going to start. And we're going to start with verse 1, and then we're going to skip down a little bit. 1 Samuel 16 and 1 says, "And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons." How many of y'all knows that God always has a plan?
Yes,
Amen.
he
Even
does.
when things around us look a little bit chaotic, God always has a plan.
Yes, amen.
We skip down to verse 11. It says, "And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest." No matter what age you are, God will still use you.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter if you're the youngest one in here or the oldest one in here. God doesn't look on the outward appearance.
That's right.
"And behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ready, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose and went to Ramah." So here we see David's anointed king. He's been given a promise that God's going to do something in his life. Just don't mind, this goes with me everywhere I go. But David didn't say, you know what, this is great, I'm going to skip on out, pack my bags, I'm moving to the castle. That's not what he did. He knew it wasn't time yet. He still knew God had other things to do in him. He went out and still worked the sheep and worked other things until the appointed time came. And sometimes I think that's where we miss it a little bit. Sometimes God still has things for us to do before he fulfills everything that he said.
That's true.
I want to go over to 1 Samuel 19. God wanted David to go through a bit of a wilderness, some training time. 1 Samuel 19, verse 8 says, "And there was war again, and David went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, as he sat in the house with his javelin in his hand. And David played with his hand. And Saul sought to smite David, even to the wall with the javelin. But he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall, and David fled and escaped the night. So here's David, fleeing from the man whose position he will once hold,
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
running from
Yeah.
the man that's in that position, hiding in caves.
Yeah.
I'm sure when he thought about being king, when he thought about everything that God was going to do in his life, I'm sure hiding in a cave probably wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
And you know how many times does what we imagine in our head never go exactly
Right.
like what it is? I could come up here and preach the most fired up message and the altars are full, and then I get up here and I forget my name.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the way we imagine our head is not always, come on, bring your bag of sheep, come on. Come over here. Got my little suitcase here. She goes, we have Greg up. But I want to take a look at something God did. Over in 1 Samuel chapter 24. We're going to read verses 1 to 10. So 1 Samuel 24 says, and it came to pass when Saul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told him, saying, behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi. And Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats. Now that's a lot of men. A lot of men trying to get one. The devil doesn't hold back when he tries to fight against us. He will rally every troop he
Yes,
has
he
to
does.
fight against you.
Yes, he does.
But God's troops are better and bigger
That's right.
and mightier. And he came to the sheepcotes by the way, where was a cave. And Saul went in to cover his feet. And David and his men remained in the sides of the cave. And the men of David said unto him, behold, the day of the Lord, the day of which the Lord said unto thee, behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily. And it came to pass afterwards that David's heart smote him,
Yep.
is because he had cut off
Yeah.
Saul's skirt.
Yeah. It's the anointing.
What seemed to be good wasn't God.
Uh-huh.
And how many times does the devil try to throw distractions our way because it looks good?
Come
It
on.
looks like what we should do. But what looks good is not always God.
That's
That's
right.
true.
My
That.
son and my mama heart is bursting more than ever before lately with both of my children. But about a week and a half ago, I know I testified this, you guys haven't heard it yet. But my son came to me and said, Mom, God's been stirring something inside of me for people, and he's been dealing with me about my calling. And we began to talk about it. He says, I don't know, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I think maybe it might be this. I don't know, but that kind of makes sense. So we began to talk about it over the next 2 days and pray about it. And something just hit me, distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, Lord, I don't know if that's me or if that's, you. I'm going to keep praying about it. And that night after service, Damien came up to me. He's like, Mom, I just kind of want to talk about this. We started talking about it. And the neatest thing happened between me and my son. As we began to talk about what he was feeling and what we've been praying about, it was like my spirit would say something in his spirit, and it was like God was giving something to me and something to my son, and it was just coming hand in hand to reveal to him what God was saying.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, God, I know that's a distraction. It looks good, but it's a distraction. And I thought, he's got to know that, though. I can't say it.
That's right.
I know more have said, he's got to know it. And Damien said, you know what, Mom, that's a distraction. Right?
Come on,
It's a distraction.
come on. Oh,
I'm
good.
going to let it go. I'm not even going to think about it. See, what looked good in helping people was a distraction for the devil to keep my son from fulfilling his calling.
Come on.
To get him from doing something else that looked good,
Yeah, come
but
on.
it wasn't his calling.
Come on.
And sometimes the devil
Yes.
comes in, cut off the robe of Saul.
Yeah.
Here's your chance. Looks good. God said it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
We gotta let God do everything. We don't make anything happen in us. And we have to be careful. We don't let those distractions distract us from what our calling really is. Verse 6 says, and he said unto his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth mine hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. So David stayed his servants with these words, and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. Claire, can I get a water? Thank you. David also arose afterwards and went out of the cave and cried unto Saul, saying, my Lord the king. He addressed his position. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. He showed reverence and respect to the man whose position he would once hold.
Yes.
But he knew that he was the appointed king at that time, and he showed respect and honor.
Mm-hmm.
And David said to Saul, "Wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, Behold, David seeketh thy hurt? Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how the Lord had delivered thee today into my hand into the cave, and some bade me kill thee. But mine eyes spared thee, and I said, I will not put forth mine hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed."
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
if we skip down to verse 16, says, "And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, Thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I had rewarded thee evil." God was teaching David
Yes,
to
he
be
was.
humble
Yes, he was.
and to respect the person in authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yes, he
David
was.
wasn't running for his life, he may not have been taught that lesson, but it was out in the wilderness that God prepared the heart of the king. He was humbled before his enemy. It was hard, but God had a plan. And later we read that David was made king after Saul had passed away. God kept his promise because God always keeps his promises.
Yes, he does.
But David learned some things. And we often look at the wilderness and we go, God, what did I do wrong? Why am I here? I've done everything right. I've paid my tithe. I've gone to church. I've been faithful. I've prayed. I've read my Bible. Why am I here? Why are you so far from me? And God's saying, trust me.
That's
I'm
right.
making you better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we often want to look at it and we want to complain
Yep.
instead of praise.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
And I think sometimes our complaining
Mhm.
makes us have to walk a little longer in the wilderness.
Yes.
Because we're not understanding
Yeah.
why God has us there. And if we begin to praise instead of complain, maybe
Yes.
our trek would be a little bit shorter.
Yes.
But sometimes I think we lengthen it for ourselves.
Yep.
And it's in our wilderness that our faith is stretched. And my son made an interesting comment to me the other day. He said, Mom, I know why we went through what we went through before this trial. And I said, why? He said, because God was teaching us patience because he knew we needed for this trial.
Yeah.
And if we didn't go through that one, we wouldn't have it for this one.
Yeah.
Or somewhere paraphrasing those words. I said, well, yeah, you're right. That's true. It really did teach us some patience. And if I wouldn't have went through that trial, maybe I wouldn't have the patience to stand in this one.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes we let things drag us down. We pack unnecessary things for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a woman, I overpack.
Mm-hmm.
I
Amen.
end up probably unpacking 2/3 clean clothes and 1/3 that's dirty. You know, because you never know what outfit you're going to want to wear.
Yeah.
And sometimes along our wilderness track here, we begin to carry around this nice little suitcase of goodies. We're going to see what we got in here. Ooh, I like this one. We start carrying around fear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, God, you're going to do it. Because, you know, we try to think that we got to figure everything out ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how. But God, I got to know the wind. Because if I know the wind, then I know how long I can endure this wilderness. But if I don't know the wind, God, I just... Why, God? Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
God's probably heard why so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we gotta, not sometimes, we gotta let go of control.
Yeah.
We gotta let go of the fear. The fear will suck the life right out of us. I had this dream not long ago, and it was a terrible dream. And in this dream, I got shot. And it was terrible. And I was bleeding. And my husband got the bleeding to stop, and I was telling him, but I'm dying because I bled out too much. And I thought, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? Honestly, I was very fearful after that dream.
Yeah.
And God said, you're letting this suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
And I realized, wow, God, I'm in this wilderness to learn something. And instead, I'm complaining. And I'm letting it suck the life out of me because I was afraid. Because of fears. But 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God hath not
That's right.
given us the spirit of fear. So if God didn't give it to us, who gave it to us?
Uh-huh.
The enemy.
Come on.
But
Good
of
shit.
power
Uh-huh.
and of love and of sound mind means I can be at peace
That's right.
because God's in control.
That's
Yes,
I
right.
don't have to know how. I don't have to know when, and I don't have to know why, because God already does. So then I can take that, I don't need that one anymore. I'm trying to play basketball. Next one we have is doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt. I know God can, I don't know if He will.
Yeah.
Anybody ever been there?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know He can, but this might not do it for me.
Yeah.
Now I got all the faith to pray for you, Sister Slater, because God can do it for you. But you know what? I just don't know if He'll do it for me. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But Jeremiah 29:11 says, and one of my favorite scriptures, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end.
Yep.
Anytime we doubt ourselves, anytime we doubt if He will, He already has a plan.
Yes. Yeah.
And He will make that plan come true. So we don't need to do that one. Don't need that overpacking no more. What's our next one? Unbelief.
Yeah.
God, it's impossible. The devil likes to make everything look impossible.
Yes, he does.
Because if we can think it's impossible, then we'll go towards something else. We can't even begin to imagine all that God can do. That's why Ephesians 3:20 says that He's more than able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could think or ask. And if we really believed He could do anything, we would know that nothing's impossible.
That's right.
Luke 1:37 says, for with God, nothing shall be impossible. Nothing.
Amen.
It didn't say some
Thank you,
things,
Jesus.
It said nothing.
That's it.
Not one thing is impossible with God. So you can take that one. Okay. Whoa, this is good. God just doesn't love me.
Yeah.
Sounds silly, but I'll be honest. I just like to put it out there like it is, and you can love me or not. Going through some of the wilderness experience I've been through, I've asked God, why do you hate me? And after I said it, oh, you can say it right now. My heart clenched like, what do you mean? Why does God hate you?
Yeah.
He gave His Son for you.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's what the devil wants you to think, that God just doesn't love you. And maybe everybody else, but you were just a little bit messed up in your past, and He doesn't love you. But Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed thee. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. That means before you ever took your first breath, God already knew you. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Our wilderness is a time of growth. Not always because we've done something wrong, but it's a time for growth. God loves us, or He wouldn't help us get stronger. So you can just cross that one side too. And this one. God left me. I'm out here in this wilderness, God, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. I don't know where my finances are going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to get to that spot that I feel like you're calling me to. I don't know how I can ever live out my destiny. I have too many flaws. And it feels like you're out in the wilderness all alone. And you're thirsty. And you're tired. But Hebrews 13:5 says, let your conversations be without covetousness and be content with such things as you have. For He has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Wilderness or mountaintop, He is with you. And you can throw that one away too. And then you know what you get to do with this nice suitcase? You feel like you've been kind of dragging around, making your little trek through the wilderness, a little bit more hard. You get to take it. You get to put it away. Stay with me now.
She's her father's child.
And then you get to say, I might be walking in my wilderness, but I am walking with every promise
Yes.
God has given me.
Yes.
Come on.
I might be right now, but I know what God said. My promise, it goes with
Come on.
me. Don't let the devil try to stand on your promise.
That's right. Come on.
See
Amen.
what I did here? I put tape across it. You know why? I didn't want it to smear in the car. It was a little hot. And after I did that, I thought, oh God, that's good.
Yeah.
Don't let the devil smear.
That's
your
right.
promise.
That's right.
Yeah, come on.
Don't let him get you distracted. Because you can walk through that wilderness and you can walk right every single step with that promise that God gave you. Because
Yes, come on.
just like Jesus said, He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. And what He said, guess what? Because if God said it, He is going to do it. I love the law of gravity. The law of gravity says what goes down,
No, it goes
what
goes up.
what goes up must come down.
Yes.
So you know what? When we begin to pray the promise,
Come on.
when we get to
Yes.
begin to praise God, Sister Mika, we come down. When we begin to praise God and we sing His praises up and we say, God, I might be in this wilderness, but I'm going to learn everything you want.
yes,
and
yes,
I'm
yes.
strapping my
Yes,
promise
yes,
on,
yes.
and I'm getting rid of everything else. And you know what? God's going to begin to rain down that freshness that you need. You might still have to walk a season in that wilderness, but no, you're not walking it alone.
Amen.
Know that God's going to give you the water that you need to take every single step, because every promise that He gave you is yours, and every promise He has said He will fulfill. I would like to sing that song. Let's stand. We're going to sing that song, How Great Is Our God. We're going to send our praises up tonight. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, sing how great is our God. For He's a name above all names. Yes, we sing our praises up. Worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, sing how great is our God. Damien, can you pull up that last scripture, please? This is also the first one.
Lord, we praise your name, Lord Jesus.
Here, let's 2 Corinthians 1 and 3. For all the promises of God in Him are yea, and in Him are amen. God said it.
Glory.
He's gonna do it.
That's
right.
Don't let the devil
Yes.
smear your
That's
promise.
Come on.
Don't let him try
Come
to
on.
trample on anything
That's
God
right.
has told you. And if you're in the wilderness and maybe you don't even know why right now, seek
on.
out the purpose, because God has a destiny and a calling and a promise for you. And tonight, if you feel like you've been walking in that wilderness and you need to walk with the promise instead of everything else that's trying to come against you, I would like you to come and we would like to
Come on.
pray with you.
Yes, Lord.
Come on.
God, we glorify your name, Lord Jesus.
How great